If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you? Hello and welcome to Film Curious. Today we're going to be talking about Disclosure Day. I'm Ashley and I'm here with Pete to talk about Steven Spielberg's latest film after 5 decades of filmmaking. And Steven, if I can call him Steven, Mr. Spielberg, is one of the GOATs, is one of the all-time greats. And I know Pete has, well, I feel Pete has an encyclopedia or a textbook on Spielberg in his brain.
I'm a fan.
So
I'm a big fan.
A small fan, we'll just say. Small fan.
I'm a fan.
So a little bit of a fanatic.
Got some memorabilia in the house. So this is Spielberg's, technically you can say fourth alien film where we have, E.T., Close Encounters. Then whether or not you want to include War of the Worlds, I think is kind of dealer's choice because it wasn't based, on something that he had originally written or anything like that. So I don't know if it really gets involved in this. It doesn't seem that he involves it in some of the interviews that I've seen.
Yeah, one of the recent, I think he's had it in a few interviews that he looks at War of the Worlds as his reaction to 9/11. I believe. So yeah. I think he kind of is keeping this a little bit outside of his alien obsession fascination.
Yeah, but the thing is with those alien obsession, films that are very much about the wonder of, what is out there, there's always the theme running in the background, very much in the foreground, of broken families. Elliot's parents are divorced and, the father's never coming back and everything that puts that family through. And with Close Encounters, Neri is leaving in many, many ways, and in the ultimate way at the end, his family. And that's about a family that is very broken as well. And around them are these events that are going on. Where Disclosure it has touches of that with Emily Blunt's character's background, but it isn't as, it isn't really the thing as it was in those other films. This one more revolves around what would people do? What would be the reaction if something like this wound up to be true? And what I find very interesting about the movie is I think it's really made a litmus test of an audience because we are, for good reason, very, very cynical nowadays. Now, there's a lot of people who are very much online who are cynical for views and clicks. It's like their personality. Like, oh, look at how ironic I laugh at everything and that kind of dumb shit. And, this really if this is a trap for those people, man, did they fall for it, in my opinion. I think most of the movie I really enjoy. The some that I wish was tighter or maybe had less. Yeah, I think less would have been a lot better for me in a lot of spots in this film. But I like the overall, story and the theme and the messaging. And Emily Blunt puts on a hell of a performance. And, so does... I got to look up her name. I apologize.
Who plays Jane?
A news anchor.
Oh, you know what? I actually did look her up, and I noted her because I found that performance incredible. Let me find it in my notes.
Where did that come from?
So,
Courtney Grace. Sorry.
Yeah, her name is Courtney Grace, and she actually used to be a news anchor and TV reporter. So now she's transitioned into acting. But she has got some real world experience reporting the news as an anchor.
Yeah, I guess depending on what events in our recent-ish history she's had to report on. But, I thought she was excellent in that role. Usually those are very strange little bits. But that end sequence is one of the things where I wish we would have shown a little less, maybe. There is a very, very specifically, if we talk about Close Encounters and E.T., that was in the age of practical effects. And we are no longer really in the age of that. It's an option, and a lot of people still use it. This film, I think, would have benefited from that a bunch, or just hiding things. better. I don't know how much we're going to worry about spoilers. The movie's been out for a couple of weeks already.
Right. I mean, I'll always, because I hate spoilers, so I'll always
Okay.
acknowledge that
All right, then
in this
I'll
conversation.
hold off on that then.
I think it's okay though. Like if we just acknowledge that you're going to get
Yeah,
spoilers.
there's going to be spoilers.
That's all. So
Guess what? There's fucking aliens in this movie. I mean, that's a thing. Like,
I mean, the trailers showed
surprise.
that. I was actually surprised that the trailers showed so much. So
I know I only watched like
I think
the
second
first
one
trailer,
did.
and then that was it. Because they can't help themselves. They got to try to promote these movies.
No. It's always the last like minute and a half of a trailer of the second trailer that just ruins it. It's just and I couldn't really avoid it. I feel like they were showing it a lot during the NBA playoffs and finals, and that second trailer had an alien in it. I think showed the alien.
If you view yourself as a jinx whenever you watch the games, you get to avoid that stuff. So that was how I worked it. I would have been I'd love to see a version of this film where we either don't see them or when we do, there's a practical effect, because it's so weird to me that my brain has this reaction. Typically, Spielberg's aliens look like classic, except for E.T., he's kind of become his own iconic design, but like even the aliens in Close Encounters, they resemble
what you think of as an alien.
Of what you think of as an alien, right? And when I see that in a movie, mixed a bunch, human beings, when it's that CG, it doesn't look like it's in the room. And the reason that my brain has that trip is because I'm so kind of familiar with that look that when it looks fake, I say, well, that's not real, even though it's not a real thing.
And the whole thing is supposed to be they're disclosing real footage, right? So is that why it kind of bothers you more?
And being like in the room with the people, the one that they've kept alive. I just, why are we not doing that practically? I wish I knew. Maybe they tried some things and it didn't move or work the way that they wanted it to, but man, it really took me out of the ending, which there were a number of moments in this movie I got real emotionally involved.
Yeah.
And I really think that effect kind of threw me off at the end, where I was like, oh, God, it was as distracting as when like the aliens showed up in Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. They have that same sort of like, this isn't in the room thing. Like it doesn't have that effect. I don't know. How did you react to that?
I think I was just in it, so I didn't worry too much about it. Which specifically, what footage specifically really threw
the
you?
Footage is one thing. I can get away with that because it's like a little grainier. It's the
or
one
is it,
that they,
is it the one that comes
wheel
down?
into the room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
right.
wheel into the newsroom.
Oh, like the big one, and he steps out of the. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he's in the because he's supposed to be in the same room as all these people,
right?
And it looked like a fantastic video game because video games look that good now in their cutscenes, but it did not look like it was something that was in the room. And again, I just wish they would have done something practical. For that.
I mean, I knew it wasn't practical, but I think I was just so in the moment that it didn't really. I kind of just let myself go at a certain point in the movie, which like I think that's just what Spielberg does to you a lot of times when you're watching the film. I was just caught up. I was caught up in the moment. But yeah, I guess if I watched it again, maybe I would notice that he wasn't feeling real, but I think I was just caught up in the movie where it didn't bother me too much at that point.
Yeah, no, outside of that though, I really enjoyed so much of it, but there are some really odd choices. One of them, I think though, a lot of people, again, I've seen a couple of comments on this, and it really just takes me as the I'm so dumb, I'm so smart, everyone else is so dumb kind of comments. The bit with the phone, driving back, over the phone and stuff. See, I got a little bit of a kick out of that because in a lot of movies that like destroy your phone and someone throws it out the window and I'm like, that phone's fine. That phone's totally fine. Mm-hmm. Like, what did it do? Land in the grass on the highway? Like, that's not broken at all. So you do actually have to like run over a phone sometimes to get it to break, or break it in your hands, which would then, shatter the glass in your hands. You cut your hand wide open. So I thought that was actually kind of funny that we took 30 seconds to,
I
you
enjoyed
actually
that.
have to destroy this phone.
I think it just, especially with Emily Blunt's character of Margaret, I think that the point is always to make her very human. Like, she is experiencing, and even her boyfriend is very human. Like, they are such a human couple. Like, these two people wouldn't be able to smash the phone correctly. I picture this boyfriend not being able to run over the phone correctly. Yeah. I picture her then, like, I thought it was a great little, humans are full of errors and they're not perfect.
But that's the thing, though. People can't watch movies, and when people act like humans, they go along with it because they're like, well, I'm watching a movie. I would never do this. This would never happen. It's like, it happens all the time. What are you talking about?
That would totally happen. It's like this big of a block.
Not the phone specifically, but I mean, like, people just making bad decisions in high pressure situations and stuff like that, and doing dumb shit. That's what people do. It's like it's our fucking characteristic.
I mean, I appreciated too that I just felt like all of the human characters behaved very human. Like, I would like Wyatt Russell being the boyfriend and being like, she's gone crazy. And he calls the doctor when he's back at the gas station because he's like, she's lost her mind, And I appreciated that was a very human reaction to be like, she's gone. I'm going to call
And that's
the doctor.
very Close Encounters. That's the wife. That's mine's blanking, but that's near his wife being like, you're out of your mind. I'm taking the kids and getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
She doesn't stick around like, I'm going to stand by you, or, blah, blah, blah. She leaves. At a certain point, she's like, that's enough. So yeah, I dig that. Wyatt Russell plays a really good, just sort of dude, just like a guy. He's really, really good at it, which is, that's his father excelled at it. And he does it pretty damn well too. One of the other odd decisions, though, just to kind of get those off the plate, at the end, I get why Colin Firth just sort of is like, it's done. There nothing, we can keep trying this. It's not going to work. They're going to get this out one way or the other, and just sort of resigns himself to that ending for him. It was the other guy who was like, we're just going to let her get away with this.
And his reaction.
Exit stage right with like 8 other body armed guys leaving. That was confusing to me. I didn't understand.
Why wouldn't they stay to watch?
I don't understand why he didn't do something drastic.
Or that, if he felt that he should have done something. I mean, then why didn't he do it himself?
He tried to push him into a train earlier in the movie.
Right.
So
he was
why
the same guy
now in this moment? Moment, you can have him do that. You can have him make that decision. But I want a little bit more as to why he makes that decision at that moment. I got why Colin Firth got it.
Yeah.
I understood why he was finally like, we're done. Because he's smart enough to know that he is done, that they have lost this fight. I'm not sure the other guy is smart enough to understand that he lost that fight yet. So that kind of raises questions of just why, I don't know. I didn't find that very satisfying.
I think
the way that wrapped up.
Yeah, I think that the problem with that character is he kind of was just a sidekick goon. It felt like for most of the film, where I feel the other characters are all pretty well rounded.
I don't know anything about.
Yeah, all we know is he's like the right hand man who is either brawn. I guess he's the muscle. I don't know, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
He's dumb muscle. I'm not sure, but yeah, I could agree with you on that. It was a little bit of a give us a reason why he gave up then, or I don't know. I actually probably would have been fine with him just standing and watching then, because if he's giving the order to stand down,
or just Firth saying like, we lost, like this is
stand down,
like they're gonna get it eventually. Look at the room you're in. Yeah. These people are not with you. I'm the only one who was. Like just something simple like that, I think would have really made it like ease a lot more into it. The other thing that I wish we just got more of, but I'm not sure in what way we could have, because this also leads to what I think is the greatest strength of the film, the thing I like the most. In the beginning of the film, the first act, like the first 15 minutes, we have that really great conversation between let me get some Josh O'Connor and Eve Hewson. So Daniel and Jane, about, should you put this out? Who, what makes you the person that should decide that this should go out? Because if you take a somewhat decent look at the history of humanity, they don't deal well with situations that are foreign, even in like people who are their fucking neighbors. And now you're asking them to work together, towards this other thing and not burn everything to the ground in fear.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great argument. And we have it there. And then we have it a little bit with Colman Domingo and Colin Firth later in like the third act when they get to interact, or the end of the second act. But I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit more that I wanted. And I think it actually does come from Eve, because I do get why Eve flips her intentions by the end of the movie, because they like invaded her mind. Like, why would you help these people?
Yeah.
But her idea on, I don't think this is a good idea, was hers. That wasn't someone stepping in for her and speaking for her. So I think I wanted a little more from her, actually, from her character, to get her to the point where she's all in on letting everyone know.
I think this is kind of, at least for me, I took it as when Jane she makes the phone call towards the end to the nun, and she's asking her about it. If I have definitive proof, and the nun, I can't verbatim remember what she says, but she goes, Jane, I never thought you lost your faith in God. I think you lost your faith in humanity.
I love that line.
It was so good. And I think it was to point out to Jane, and I think it helps Jane with kind of a realization that she needs to, I think her turning point is I need to trust in my fellow man, my fellow people, that they can handle this information, because she takes in this information and she can handle it. And I think her and Daniel has this full confidence that everybody needs to know. Right from the start, that he thinks that people can handle it. And so I think that conversation with the nun is kind of Jane's turning point or epiphany of being like, yes, people do need to know, and kind of having faith in people again. I mean, I don't know if there were enough details throughout the film to, get us to the total turnaround that Jane has.
It's like this close for me. It's so fucking close. That's the thing. It's really, really, it's sliver thin. But the thing, the counter to that of my own problem with it is, you don't know what happens the next day.
Yeah.
And
we're left.
For all, you have to answer that question on your own. And then that answer very much informs on yourself. And that's the part of the film I find the most fascinating.
And they are on the brink of, they're supposed to be on the brink of World War III. There's supposed to be high tensions happening too. So I guess you add that in, and it's like, what's humanity going to do? And now
they don't resolve that. It's not like in The Abyss where, they come up from the water and you're like, negotiations have come through. We have world peace now. Like, that shit doesn't happen. It's completely on you. What happens day one after this goes out everywhere? And to watch this movie and fixate on like a local news channel, what would they do? It's like, what? Who cares? Like, what a weird thing to get like hung up on. It's just strange. The way people watch movies nowadays is so weird to me. Where I don't know. There's this I'm very guilty of it. There's this thing of like when you go to a concert and the opening band comes on, there was this old joke that like all the people who were there to see the band, they just sit in the back with their arms crossed. They're like, impress me, which is a stupid thing to do, but we all do it. And I think that's a lot of audiences nowadays. They're like, I'm smarter than everything. You have to be smarter than me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's not what this movie's trying to do. That's not what most movies are trying to do. It's such a weird approach.
I mean, I did think it was an interesting choice to have it, but I think it was Spielberg trying to say that he wants that kind of community where the world can be connected in a way that's not so siloed. The information isn't siloed. And like this disclosure, I think is like him trying to say that, okay, it was such a big story on Discovery. When it's released to the world, no one's going to withhold it. And it is the broadcasts are all going to want to broadcast it. Everyone's going to be able to see it on their phone, all that. Like, so I think that's what he's trying to say. I mean, I'm not heavily critical of that decision to do that. But it is kind of like if you go to the president, it's like, what are the odds everybody all at once, all over the world was going to be watching this footage? But I mean, I guess
everyone's
that's
on
what
their
people
phone,
didn't.
though. I mean,
Not everyone.
Me and you watched the parade today. There were millions of people in downtown. One half of them were watching shit through their phone with notifications on, I'm sure, and a notification would have come up somewhere from an Instagram post or blah, 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 blah. And they would have been like, what the fuck is this?
This footage is released.
So like, yeah, actually, I do think that would happen.
I guess it would spread like wildfire pretty quickly.
It would. I mean, when you think about a time when we didn't have as much as we have now. When you look back at 9/11, everyone was in front of their TV like within 30 minutes of the first plane.
Yeah.
And that was largely without, the way that everything is so interconnected right now with communication. If something like this happened, I think everyone
you think
would
that
pretty
the
much
broadcast would get through, and not it wouldn't have to like work its way through an algorithm.
I think if enough people put something on Instagram,
I guess that's
you're going to wind up. All you need is one big account.
Right.
Trust me, as someone who didn't have any followers on Instagram, and then like 2 months later had a couple of, like over 20,000
Instagram star. You're an
all
influencer.
you need. No, that's the thing. It has nothing to do with me at all. It was just that a couple of things that I posted were reposted by very popular people, and suddenly they had 5 million views.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy, but that's how that works now. That's how that's how Instagram used to work anyway.
Wait, so what's the complaint then at the end of what were people complaining about?
I don't know. They just make things up in their head because they think they're smarter than everything. And again, I don't care if you didn't like the movie. That's totally fine. Like that's individual. But it's the way that they present an argument. And you hear it all the time with all movies. It's the worst writing. It's terrible. Against what? Like, what are you doing? What is that basis against? Because I've seen movies that are terrible, and they're very specific. But nowadays, the only thing you can say is that it's terrible or is amazing, and that's kind of the movie has a little bit to say about that kind of stuff too. But then, I think ultimately the problem is this also with this movie and with some audience. I mean, I looked, actually, the majority of people actually really liked the movie. I was surprised because as a friend of mine said, and Mike Aiello, we were talking about this film a lot after he had gotten out of the movie. I had seen it the day before. And he had said, and I had actually written it in my letterbox nonsense before we talked about it. He said, I think the biggest problem with the film is that people are too cynical. And the movie is hopeful.
It is,
and Spielberg's always been like that. And he's even been accused of that when he's not. AI is a really good example of that, where I remember there was, they reunited this kid with his dead mother just so you could have a happy ending. Like, dude, that clone that he's spending a day with dies the next day. That was already established. this is horrifyingly sad because the mother that he had never accepted him and never did. And you'll never get that again. And Minority Report, I think, is another one, because if you're a fan of Philip K. Dick, Philip K. Dick stories love to show you one ending, but that's not actually what happened. And you can watch Minority Report and really go in the other direction on it. But when he's, in the overall of his filmography, yeah, there's hope at the end of his films. And this was certainly one of them. And I don't think an audience right now, a good smattering of an audience, even if they enjoyed the rest of the film, I think the ending might be hard for them to kind of contend with, that the next day everything goes well. Because we're in a place right now where people don't feel like that. And again, for excellent reason. Shit, I don't feel like that. But I'm willing to at least break free of that a little bit while I watch this, because it's nice to view someone's idea where this does go well and there is a positive to it. And I love that it ends on listen.
Yeah, absolutely love that line.
There are some fucking banger moments in this movie. Like, again, I think it's uneven overall.
Yeah.
But Jesus, when it nails its moments, the entire sequence of Emily Blunt going to work and going live, that is insanely good. Like, she's out of her fucking mind good. The camera's out of its mind good. And then I love the memory of her as a child.
Yeah. I love even the lead up to it. I love when she doesn't want to. The performance was amazing of her not wanting to go into the house, of her yelling about it. It's my memories. It's my story. Even she absolutely is like, please don't pray to me. I'm no God. I've been like, this isn't your story. And I think that, but go ahead. Yeah. I just thought that whole thing was brilliant.
But that whole point, that's another like great point that's in the film. And this will be like my Spielberg fanboyism. He's too good sometimes at what he does, and he makes it look easy. And I think then it's easy to overlook a lot of shit in the movies. Because like what you just talked about with the woman bowing to her, this isn't a positive situation. And even that moment for all of us as watchers, all probably made us a little uncomfortable. Where you're like, oh, no,
why is she signing that?
You shouldn't be doing that at all. That's not helpful. Folks, we've got people who worship people right now in the world that would as easy piss on them than give them $1, and they are worshipped and deified. And oh my God, it's our Christ sent this person. Like, it's fucking insane. So you actually get this dark idea that could happen from this very positive thing, but it's just there for a second, on screen. It's just there for a second, and you could walk right by it. I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but when that woman dropped to the knee, I was like, no. Like, we don't want any of that. But yeah, I thought that was the movie's filled with little moments like that I really, really enjoy. I also really enjoy, if you don't know, the Nixon story is a, big quotes, true story.
Oh,
that's that 50s, that's Ralph Cramden. Contractor. It's what's his name? Ralph Cramden from the Honeymooners.
Okay.
What the fuck was his name?
Is that the character's name, or you're saying that?
That's the character's name. My brain is. I got to look it up, or I'll go crazy.
Is the actor's name Ralph too?
No, Jackie Gleason.
Oh gosh, yes.
So Jackie Gleason was a big UFO person. He was massive into UFOs, and one of the all-time stories is that Nixon brought him down and showed him UFO wreckage. And that's always been like a big story. And to see it in here, and I was wondering, I was like, they were able to say Nixon's name, but they didn't say Gleason's name. And I wonder if it was some sort of thing where like the family didn't sign off for it or some weird reason. But yeah, that's actually like, that's
I did
always
not
been
know.
like one of these
Yeah.
big.
I had.
So
I don't
if you watch
follow
the
a lot of
movie,
alien conspiracies or
and
anything
that's
like that.
all that shit that's in the movie is based on sightings and things that
Yeah.
people proclaim to have happened, which is very fascinating. And he does sneak in. There is a shot at the end where there is a ship flying, and it's not, because these movies are not connected and blah, blah, blah. But there is a shot at the end where one of the released footages is of a rather large ship over a Devil's Tower-esque formation, which I thought was pretty funny, just to sort of, give that, like, yes, I fucking know. Like, I made these other movies too. But yeah, like, as an audience member, if I don't know that, my God, does that Nixon thing seem strange as fuck. But my
You think it
hope
did
is
seem
that
strange to me, and
I
I
think
didn't know
that
about it.
again, I think people are, they just everything's ironic. Everything's an ironic laugh. And I wonder, like, how many people saw that and said, "Wait, is that like a real thing?" And looked it up, and then were, entertained a little bit by like, yeah, that's supposedly,
I assumed it was a
thing.
real thing, actually. I
mean,
for
Nixon
some
was
reason,
fucking nuts, right?
yeah. I was like, nope, sounds right. If you told me that was a president who knew about it, and yep, okay.
Yeah. He probably showed Elvis too, right? That would be the other guy you would have shown it to. But yeah, he was, he wanted people to like him. Again, sort of a mirror of a thing. So, he supposedly showed him that. So yeah, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun, like real alien stuff in there. I know my friend Aaron Sagers, who is very much, in the mainly the spooky universe. He had a lot of fun with this movie. For his own reasons, he had a lot of fun with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is an up and down kind of movie for me, because there's moments that we already mentioned that I love so much. Like the back end of the movie, I thought was just wonderful. Had so many great moments. It did get a little shaky at times for me, and I don't know if it was just a little too much exposition. There are times I wish I needed to pull an exact example where they're telling us what's going on while we're watching it go on, sort of thing. I'm trying to remember the scene where maybe it's when they're like holding the device, and they like to like. I felt like the movie liked to like reiterate to you what was happening while it was happening.
I agree with you. But it also withholds something that is so strange to me. What happens when that guy disappears and then comes back?
Where he like turns into particles and then he comes back. Yeah.
That seems like something edited by accident and no one caught it. Because I thought he was going to come back and be like, I have seen them. Or some crazy shit. And like lost his mind. Like whatever he saw was too much. It's kind of like in The Dark Tower. Whoever gets this reference, God bless you. In The Dark Tower, when the Man in Black shows Roland the real universe, and they are, I mean, according to the Man in Black, they are just like a petal on a rose on a planet, right? That's how small they are compared to the rest of the galaxy. And when Roland comes out of that vision, the Man in Black says, "Oh, you have some strength in you," or something like that. If I would have shown your father that, he would have come back drooling. I wanted that guy to come back drooling. Right, and that would have been the great fear, because they're like, don't squeeze it. You squeeze it, you fucking don't squeeze it. They take a lot of pains to say, point that out.
Yeah, don't hold it too tightly. Wear a glove. Like
we never really learned why. I mean, Colin Firth overuses it, which is fine. I like that idea. Like, it's not a fucking toy. It's beyond us. We don't even know mostly what Colman Domingo tells him all that.
Yeah, Hugo's like, you're not using it for its correct purpose, or and Emily Blunt seemingly can control it, can handle it. Because, I mean, after she makes them all go invisible, have the invisibility power for however long. When she puts it down, it is like crumbled. It is kind of disintegrated.
Yeah,
she
like uses it up.
Yeah. I mean, that device we don't really know a ton about the device. Except for it
fine.
can do crazy things. Because it's
Which is like, I'm okay with that too.
With
because like you just said, maybe we don't need all that, right? We don't need to know exactly what this thing is. That's fine. But when you lay out rules, that means they figured out why that's a rule. And we should be shown that. As you said, don't tell us, show me. Which when the guy disappeared, I was like, here's the show. But I still was like, I don't get it. He just came right back. And he was fine. So that's what I'm talking about, where like there's these odd little decisions in
Moments.
here. Also, and this is nitpicky, but I think for a man who was so, impacted by like, what 9/11 did to people and such, mate, you cannot bring a fucking backpack, a full backpack into like a wrestling show. You can't even bring that into like most buildings, So it's a stupid thing to like harp on, but it just could have been done differently. Because you want to know where he probably could have brought that into? A movie theater.
Well, do they check those though now, right?
Depending on what the movie theater I go to, I
get frisked for my little like handbag. They're like
the theater I go to does not.
Whatever.
It
does depend on the movie theater.
Depends on the theater, but he does not look like a man at ease. And so not only did he buy a ticket for this thing and walk in, but he sat down with other people and no one else around him thinks that it's weird. I think that's a bit of a misread for the real world that maybe someone like a Spielberg just is unaware of.
He doesn't go
because
to many
he doesn't,
events as
like he doesn't
as
do
not
that
Steven
shit.
Spielberg. Yeah,
because he's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
and that's that sort of thing. When I see that, I always go back to the stuff with like Lucas, where if you worked at Lucasfilm ever, no matter what George Lucas says, you're like, that's a fucking great idea, George. You want to know why? Because you're just thrilled to be there. Like you've probably worked all your life, since you were a kid, you had dreams of working at this place or working with this creative person and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to go in there and be like, well, actually. And I actually think that if someone would say something to Spielberg in these situations, he'd be like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'll fix it. But I don't think anyone does. Or in this particular instance, no one did, because it just seems an odd way to start your film.
I was going to say.
With a clothesline.
Yeah.
With a clothesline.
You're a fan of wrestling. So like,
absolutely not a wrestling crowd. As someone who's been to wrestling events.
Nope, it wasn't
not fucking happening. Standing up the whole time, like 10 times in WrestleMania history. Have people stood up for an entire match. It ain't happening.
It was such an interesting starting point. I wonder if it was just supposed to be like almost like a war Dex, like he's watching somebody try to beat the shit out of somebody else, but like it's them like suppressing it, trying to like hold it back, trying to push it down. I don't know if it was like
I think it's over. I think it was just what's a popular thing that people could try to hide in. But it's weird.
I actually do think that like I would have preferred we started with Margaret's story. I know that's like typical that you usually the like inciting incident sort of thing, you start with the story like that way with, Daniel has the device and they're after him. And I think it does like set up the like, okay, evil villain. The villains, usually do like the dark thing that the villains are trying to do to start a story. But something I just felt that Margaret's story, she really is the center of this whole thing. Even though Daniel has
both of them are.
Yeah, Daniel has that power of, mathematically being able to understand the language. But something about Margaret, she seemed so cornerstone to the story that I think that I would have started with Margaret and then gone to him. But I know that there was so much they were trying to get in to lay the foundation of the film. But
I think also the thing is, Margaret's the end of the film. Very much.
Yeah.
The third act is all that. So if she's the first act and the third act, the other guy's just carrying a backpack.
Right.
You know, like, so, but
then
I,
we get introduced to Jane.
I do think there's a different, you know, look, The Fugitive did it best, man. Make it the 4th, make it St. Patrick's Day, and people get lost in the fucking parade. Like, that's the easiest thing to do, and it works. It's solid.
Yeah.
But actually, like you couldn't even do that now. And I thought about this today. So I don't know if I told you and Ryan this. I bought a ticket to fly down to New York.
I didn't know you actually pulled the trigger.
I actually did. I had somewhere to sleep, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down Wednesday, and then I'll go to the parade. And then after the parade, I got to go to the airport because I'm going to work on Friday. I decided against this for a couple of reasons, and one of them was I had to go from the parade to the airport. I wouldn't have been able to go back to Queens and then back and forth.
This is the Knicks parade for anybody.
This is the Knicks parade for everyone. Yeah. And you could not have a backpack at all at the parade.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have been able to like pull off the time that I needed to. So even then, like, I thought of the movie. I was like, oh no, you couldn't do the St. Patrick's Day because it's going to probably be the same thing. Like they'll
be very strict now,
you know,
which I mean, rightly so. But
always is like for good reason, right? There's these little things that I just wish were tweaked with a slightly different approach. The opening of him being at the wrestling event, I want to know why that guy disappeared. I really wish the alien at the end was practical. And I just wanted a little more of, I'm split on that actually. I remember that was my first thing was I wanted more about that discussion that they had. But really, what is that discussion? What do they do? They just further like throw, philosophical platitudes at each other, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, between Daniel and Jane at the house. And
whether
it's going to break people or not. Yeah. I don't know how you even come to an agreement on that sort of thing, and maybe that's why Jane has to do the complete turnaround. But I love so many elements of this. I do think that even the action sequences, like I don't know if we needed them necessarily.
I mean,
it was like a chase thriller type of film where they are chasing.
The train sequence was great.
I was going to say that. I don't know how they did the train. I loved CG. It. But that looked really good.
I mean, I'm assuming it's CG. They're going to put fucking blunt on the roof of anything.
No practical in there.
It doesn't feel like it.
Probably not. Well, I was impressed with it then.
Like, I really liked when he was pushing them onto the track.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I don't know how trains stop nowadays, so I have no idea if that other train should have stopped.
Been able to brake.
It wouldn't have mattered if the other
I still think they need so much time. He could have maybe slowed down.
I don't know. Yeah, like the first train should have, again, like that's bringing so much real world stuff that like you're not going to be able to enjoy anything if you start thinking about stuff like that, especially action movies. I know that John Williams is 98 now or 90.
Is it 93? I don't know. Yeah,
he's in his 90s. So I understand that the soundtrack was maybe not as much, and I just mean in like material as it normally would have been, because those chase sequences were without soundtrack, which when you think of Williams and you think of Spielberg films, those action sequences have something going on musically usually. And they were silent. And I kind of wonder if that was just, he can only get so much done at his age and this and that. I was kind of,
he's 94.
Wondering. 94, yeah. I mean, he had retired. This was his, this
is now supposed to be his last one.
Yeah.
But I think if Spielberg asked him to do it again, I think he would. If he was still alive.
Going to.
You don't think so?
I mean, if I don't know if he can turn him down. No, I don't. I don't think. I think Spielberg knows to. He's
Leave
done
him.
his.
Leave him
Leave
be.
him be. Because if he asked, he would do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think Giacchino should get a Spielberg film.
Oh, yeah, I think they'd be a great fit.
That to me feels real good. I don't know what Spielberg is doing next. I'm sure it's already out there, but I'd love to see that because Giacchino has a lot of the Williams gene, like in his music. I feel he's found those hooks that work really well. So we'll see what goes on next. But yeah, overall, like I would say it's like a B, like a low B, like an 80, 81, out of 100. Because I just enjoy the subject so much and the, exploring that subject and what people would do is fascinating to me because I am a cynic at heart. I don't think people would react well at all. I don't think anyone would believe anything they saw on that TV, firstly.
I think that would be they would think it was AI. That would be a hard sell.
100,
for sure,
like
especially
99,
now,
until the motherfuckers landed.
Yeah.
You would have people who would not believe
until they were placed in classrooms and workplaces.
Yeah. And even then they'd be like, oh no, it's some sort of hologram. It's like Tupac. Tupac's going to be in a video game, folks. I don't know what to tell you. All right. It's very strange. Saw that at the Summer Games Fest last weekend. Tupac's in a video game.
Which video game?
I think it's a new Yakuza game. Fucking world is weird. It's just a really weird world.
I guess somebody just sold away his rights.
Well, I mean, Snoop Dogg was on stage, so he's also in the game. Look, again, everything's very, very strange. I enjoy so much of it, but there's little bits that I wish were different. And
I think this is going to get better on a second watch. Like, I think
absolutely,
because
I think so.
I've been thinking about it since I saw it a few nights ago, and I'm like, oh, and I love that part, and I love this, and then so like the parts that I think maybe I was critical of a second time around, I might be more lenient, or I might understand it more. I might understand the choices more,
Yeah,
especially with the device and
the device in particular, right?
Not that again, like if you tell a good story, I mean, if you guys listen to the past episodes of like when I was like, I need to know wish mechanics, I need to know this and that. And like, I really don't. Because if you hand me a good story and you hand me good characters and I care about the story and the characters involved, fuck if any magical thing, any supernatural thing could happen. Fuck if I care. I don't care how it happens. It really is the difference for me is whether you've got me invested in the story or not.
Yeah. No, my only reason that I harped on that is because
you're right. It's
they gave a rule and I want to know why. Like outside of that, we're fine. Oh yeah, by the way, yes, I am a Spielberg fan. I mean, come on, what are we doing? I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah, we're a little biased.
Well, no, I mean, like I'm biased, but I'm fine with saying like this doesn't work. This doesn't work.
It's not top Spielberg for me, but I loved it. Still loved it.
No, it's not S-tier Spielberg by any means. No. I would say again, I think it's like a solid B, but I'll take a solid B over lower than that. I'm happy to watch it again, and I do agree with you. I do think that on second view, I'm curious and interested to see what else I pick up that I may have not picked up on in the first viewing, which happens in so many movies because, you're taking everything in. It's very, very odd that I watch a film once and I'm like, got it. Like even a bad film, like a movie that I don't enjoy, I'll rewatch it and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, there's that going on. This is kind of okay. Or I'll notice something even more mind-numbing than I missed the first time, whatever it may be. I mean, shit, I watched Troll 2 just last night. Incredible 4K.
Wait. Why? Why did you watch
Troll 2? No. Ask me if I own Troll 2 on 4K.
Well, that's a yes because you own everything on 4K.
I got the 4K Troll 2, and man, it's so wild to see these old 80s films, with the film actually cleaned up and looking the way that it is. Because 35 millimeter, equals out to roughly I think 6 or 8K. Like technically,
wait, you're not talking about like the new animation Trolls.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No.
At
No,
first I was like,
Troll 2.
okay,
What
yes,
year
all
was
right,
it?
yes, the 80s films.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
that
Not trolls
they're
with
eating
a Z.
him and then they're going to eat me.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my God. That.
Initially, man, I thought you were buying the animated
No,
4K.
it's a horrible movie, but it's fun as shit to watch. You know, it is really fun to watch. We got to review that movie for this. You got to see Troll 2, which, by the way, for anyone who is unaware, there is no Troll 1. There was a movie called Troll that the producers of the film decided to call this Troll 2 because the original Troll made some money at the box office and they thought they could trick people into thinking that it was a sequel. But there's no Troll 1 and there are no fucking trolls in the movie. They're all goblins. So oh my God, love the movies. Love them.
Yeah, I could go on about this movie because I think I love it. I think talking about it.
Let's
now
do a
is-
revisit. I want to
Yeah.
wait till it comes out on home video. Like it's 1983.
You're in the troll mindset. The
I'm in
troll
the
2
troll
mindset.
mind right
You're
now.
back in the 80s.
I got Troll 2 on 4K and I got Explorers in 4K. There's some good times ahead. I want to revisit this and do a second review once I get to sit down and watch it in the house. Because there's another thing that I don't think I had any trouble on this particular film, but I'm seeing a pattern that I have some issues picking up dialogue with loud noises more and more as I go to the movies, and I got to give them a run at home with subtitles. So
oh no, we got to get your hearing checked.
Here's the crazy part. What was that movie? I can't believe that this is actually how this happened, but I swear to whatever God you believe in, this is a true story. The movie with Riz Ahmed, where he loses his hearings. He's a drummer. What's that called? Didn't he win?
He did.
We got to get the title. It's a fantastic movie.
Sound of Metal.
I shit you not. Throughout my life, I have gone to, I couldn't tell you how many concerts, over 100. I've even worked security for some of them. I have never once worn hearing protection. This is not a suggestion by any means to anybody. I was watching Sound of Metal, and as I'm watching it, I legitimately the hearing went out of one of my ears, and I just had a loud ring.
Oh God.
And I was horrified. And I went and I got an ear examination and everything. And it had calmed down a little bit by then. And I had a hearing test and they were like, no, you're doing fine. They're like, your hearing's okay. You have a little bit of, something, some sort of thing. I don't remember exactly how they worded it, but they were like, it's nothing to worry about. You'll feel fine in a couple of days. They gave me some drops. But yeah, I had for like a good half a week or something. I couldn't hear almost anything out of one of my ears. Just from that.
Was it ringing too? Was it like the tinnitus?
Yeah, it was a ringing. Yeah, it was like tinnitus. I thought I had tinnitus.
I'll get like the tinnitus, and then luckily, I just don't.
I have that.
I don't freak out about it. It happens like pretty frequently for me, but I just don't freak out about it, and it always corrects itself. So I try not to focus on it. I don't know enough about tinnitus to know whether I need to be ever concerned about it.
I hear ringing in my ears 24/7, all the time. So, when we go out to a loud restaurant or something like that, I have a lot of trouble hearing my friends and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so I'll whenever I give a movie a couple of watches, I'll give one round with the subtitles on. It's also just sometimes people just are delivering fast dialogue, and I want to catch everything. Like I love Deadwood. I've watched that show I don't know how many times over. But I'll watch it sometimes with the subtitles just because the manner of speech that they are using and the vocabulary that they are using, sometimes it may just slip by me.
Right.
So I just like to do that.
It's so much harder.
Fucking easier.
It is harder at home, though. I feel like they don't sound mix correctly for everybody's sound systems. Because
depends on your sound system.
I heard Sinners crystal clear in theaters. I don't remember ever having a problem understanding what Michael B. Jordan was saying at all in Sinners. But at home, I mean, we have the speaker, we have the sound system. I couldn't.
Well, what kind of sound system do you have?
I mean, it's not good enough, but I
can't
tell you.
Is it a sound bar?
It's a sound bar, and like the subwoofers, and like it's like a full like.
Is it just the sound bar though?
No, we
one
have like
speaker up front.
No, we have the 2 small speakers, the sound bar. We don't have is it like subwoofer surround?
Okay,
we don't have that one.
Okay,
or it is on. So it's just not.
You have a 2.1 setup essentially is what it's, or a 3.1 setup. You should look into some of the settings, or actually hook your system up with a receiver and do a calibration test, and it will balance that out. And there's some nice little features nowadays on some Blu-ray players for vocal boosters that boosts up the audio track a little bit more, or tries to.
Yeah, I mean, but I think we do have like the dialogue setting or whatever that setting is turned up, but for some reason, I don't know what it was about Sinners that wasn't.
I'll give it a rewatch. I don't remember.
I watched it on, but I watched it on HBO Max, so it wasn't.
That's probably going to be it. Yeah.
But I was surprised because I don't remember having an issue with that.
That's going to be compressed.
Yeah, I think that must
be compressed sound. So
yeah, that must have been it. But yeah, for some reason, if you're streaming, I feel like the sound.
What's the lesson here? Don't
stream. Bye.
Own your shit.
Then it's like get rid of the streaming services. Then
I don't see the problem.
I don't see the problem.
I don't see that.
I have a hard time committing.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yes, we should definitely do
we'll do a revisit when it comes around.
And but I think we'll call it for this one. But I think our consensus is we both loved it. So
I very much
thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. We didn't even discuss the whole focus on the eyes, which is massive. I was going to say
he tells so much through. Yeah. Like he really treats eyes as if there's like a window into the soul.
Yeah.
So, it is, and he's so.
I mean, quite literally.
Yeah.
Because, that's how they take over them is, your eyes change.
Yeah, that was great. That's great. And that scene where, Jane's clutching the crucifix or, is trying to, and it's like her, that's, oof.
I thought of Disclosure also today because I was watching Nope. Jordan Peele's Nope. I fucking love that movie. And the opening of that is just you're hearing the background of the TV show with Gordy, with the chimp that goes nuts. And then the first shot of the film is Gordy, and the shot is a POV of young Steven Yeun. Am I saying his last name right?
Yeah,
underneath the table. And Gordy just turns and looks straight at him and holds. And I was like, Disclosure Day. It's an alien. So I'm going to go watch Nope. Fuck, I love that movie. Oh, my God.
I gotta rewatch that.
It's a great movie.
All right. Well, I think we've got there's a lot of movies coming up over the summer. So I'm sure, I think Supergirl. Is that next week? That's coming out next week?
Supergirl, Toy Story 5 comes out this week. I saw Tuner, which we could talk about eventually.
Yeah, I did. Speaking of tinnitus and ear issues and sound, that's Tuner. But we can talk about Tuner at another point in time. I did enjoy that, but yeah. I think it's still in theaters in some places. But
Tuner, yeah, it's out there. It's around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do I have right now lined up on the old... I mean, the only thing is I usually just go see movies the week that I'm going to see them. I only pre-buy tickets for ones that are going to be a pain in the ass. So actually, I'm seeing The Furious on Saturday, which I'm very excited about. Then I do have Supergirl. I got Hadestown, the musical, coming to theaters.
I'm very excited about that.
I am too.
Big
I'm very
Hadestown
much.
fan.
And then, I did grab a ticket for Spider-Man, but I tell you, those movies have not really done much for me.
I'm not a huge fan of this iteration of Spider-Man. but
there's been like nice scenes in them, but I find myself kind of bored with them overall, or just kind of don't care. But who knows?
yeah.
I always
we'll
hope
see.
the next one blows my hair back, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I keep going to see if maybe this time, maybe
Well,
this time.
That's not what they're thinking. They make $1 billion every Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So for them, they've hit it out of the park every time. There's never been a
right.
marginally bad one, because that's
Yeah.
just how it is. So.
Oh, and the Odyssey's coming up, but that's all in July. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
July.
But plenty of films to talk about coming up. Maybe a few old ones. I still really want to talk. I've been thinking about sentimental value a lot lately. So I don't know. We'll see. So thanks everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We definitely enjoyed our conversation on it, or at least I hope Pete did too. I did.
I did not.
You did not enjoy this conversation. Well,
yes, very
too
much.
fucking bad.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the show.
Knicks in 5.
Let's go Knicks.
They never have to do anything ever again. It's great.
No, back to back. Run it back. Play it back.
Come on.
I'm not asking for a lot.